Everyone, welcome to Small Farm Living. My name's Julie, and this video is part of the Just Our Imagination Challenge hosted by Kathy Jo DIYs, Rustic and Lace DIY, and this month's guest host is Craft Crumbs. So they each got to choose an item. One was book pages, one was a wire hanging basket, and the other one was a party hat. Now be sure to go down in the description below and check out the links to the host pages as well as the playlist after this video is over to see what everyone has made. So now let's get into craft number one. So for this first craft, I am going to be using the book pages. And I found this little wood kind of like frame piece at a thrift store when we were on vacation a little while ago. I'm going to sand it to get it all nice and clean. Now this little storybook, it is so precious, and I love old vintage like drawings and things like that, but you can see it's not in the best of shape. It was taped together. It's coming apart from the binding. I looked them up online and they're not even selling for $10. And actually most of them were just listings and I couldn't find any sold. So I thought I would repurpose this precious picture into something sweet on this board. Now I didn't really like the blonde color of the wood, so I am just using some of my Waverly chalk paint. I believe it's the color Moss, and I am just painting the whole thing. And I am also going to paint the edges around the top and the sides so that the whole thing has a cohesive look. And I just love this color. I think it is so pretty. Now that it is all painted, I'm going to let it dry. And now I'm going to work on this page. I'm going to kind of do like you do with tissue paper or napkins and use a little bit of water to outline the portion of the picture that I'm going to use, because I want it to have kind of that torn look to it. And this is a thicker page, so I wasn't real sure how well it was going to turn out, but I let it sit for a little while and it was just damp enough to where I was able to get the effect that I was going for. So once I got it all torn apart, then I needed to see how it sized up to the frame. Now my goal was not to have it fit perfectly within in the like center of it. I wanted there to be a little bit of overhang on the edges, but I wasn't really jiving on those band of white on that side. So I took off a little bit more and I liked it better that way. And again, there's a little bit that hangs over on this side and a little bit that hangs over on that side, and we will address that after we get this all Mod Podged. I'm just going to take and put a generous layer of Mod Podge over the entire surface so that I can do the iron method. And what I'm going to do, if you've never heard of it before, most people have, but you just rub it on, let it completely dry, and then once it's dry, you come back with your picture and set it on there. And then you grab yourself a piece of parchment paper. And off camera, I grabbed a piece of wax paper. I'm like, oops, that's not going to work. But you got your parchment paper and your little hot iron, and you just very gently and slowly rub the parchment paper, or rub the iron over the parchment paper, and it reactivates the Mod Podge and gets it to stick. Now I'm using all kinds of tools and things in today's video, and if you're interested in any of them, I do have links down in my description below for a lot of the products. And if you purchase them, I do get a small commission, which really helps my channel, and I want to thank those of you who have already done that. I appreciate you so much. Now I'm just going to Mod Podge the old-fashioned way on the edge pieces that were sticking over, putting some underneath, and then Mod Podging over the top of that to get it to stick. And then I'm going to put a layer of Mod Podge over the top of the whole thing just to seal the picture in. And it's a matte finish. And here's what it looks like when it's all dried. Now, it was needing just a little something more right here, in my opinion. And so I had this little flower that I got from some Rub-On transfers I got off Amazon. I'll show you those here in a minute. I cut off one of the big leaves because it didn't quite fit the look I was going for. And I set it on there. And this little tool I got at the Dollar Tree, I'm just going to gently rub it on there to make sure that it's good and stuck. And then I was gently peeling it off, but it came off without any issues. And I eventually did put a little bit of matte finish Mod Podge over that because it's a little shiny. But these are the mushroom transfers, and they have like little botanical flowers and all kinds of things in them as well. So now on the back, I wanted to put a little hanger, and I just grabbed a towel, grabbed one with little prongs, and hammered it in off camera. And now he's ready to go. So this is what he looked like when he was all finished. Sorry about the glare, it's kind of coming in from the side window. But again, there is just something so precious to me about the older style drawings that you find in books, especially children's books. So let me know what you think about this one. Now, in the same theme of the book pages, I am taking just like a standard older book with the yellowed colored pages, and I'm going to make some butterflies out of them. So I made myself a template and I traced it onto a little bit thicker piece of kind of cardstock. And it's just half the wing, because what I'm doing is folding the pages in half and then lining the flat part up against the fold, tracing it, then just cutting it out. And then once I get it all cut out and open it up, I have a full set of butterfly wings. So what I'm going to do is cut a few more of these because I am going to do 2. And then I made a template for the body of the butterfly, and this is the author's picture. I didn't use the glasses or anything, but I just thought part of the black and white picture of his suit and all that stuff, you wouldn't be able to really tell what it was, but it would give a more interesting look to the body portion of the butterfly. So I did the same thing. I folded it, traced it, cut it out, and now I have a body for my butterfly. So now that I have my 2 pieces, I'm just going to take, I'm going to grab it here real quick, my glue stick. This one does not have, that was like one of those pages where there was only writing on half the page, and I should have paid more attention because I really preferred writing on the whole page, but I'll fix that later and I'll show you that. I'm just going to rub some glue stick on there, and I'm going to glue those 2 pieces together so that they match. And then I am going to take my glue again, and I'm just kind of eyeballing to make sure my body of my butterfly is the right size. And I'm just going to put some glue down the center there and glue the body on. And I'm going to let these fully dry for a little bit and move on to a couple more projects. I found this other picture in this book. There weren't a whole lot of pictures, but it's like a house with some trees, and I thought that would make a really interesting look for the body of the butterflies as well. And when I pulled it out, lo and behold, it really did. I like the way those looked even better than the picture that I used of the guy's face, or not his face, but his, just the author's picture. So I'm going to put these together. It's the same way that I did the other ones. And I'm going to do a couple of different things with these butterflies. And I will show you that here in just a second. So now that I have them glued on, these ones have dried. And what I'm going to do is kind of fold the wings forward and backwards. Now you can like fold them hard, or I just kind of gave them a light crease, just so that they were slightly bent and they weren't still stuck together. And you can see how it kind of looks like they're flapping there. Now I'm going to cut off some little pieces of jute twine. Now, hindsight, after I did these first ones, I did cut the string a little bit longer because it was easier for me to tie it. And then I just slipped the little knot up to the tip so it looked like the top of a little butterfly antennae. And then I cut them down to size, and I am going to glue them onto the top of his head. That one was still a little bit long, so I'm going to trim that down a little bit more. And then I'm going to get my hot glue gun for this part, and I'm just going to glue each one of the antennae onto the back of his head. And this was just something that came to me. I mean, other people have probably done it. I don't know. I haven't researched a whole lot, but I was just trying to figure out what I was going to use for the antenna, and I thought, well, jute twine would be cute. Oh, and look, he's flying away with the glue string. I'm telling you, this batch of glue string that I have got is the stringiest stuff ever. So now that I have him on there, I'm going to take a barbecue skewer, and there was a little bit of hot glue still globbed up there at the top. So I stuck the top of the skewer up there, and you kind of see how I'm going down sideways on this butterfly. It's because what I want the effect to look like when it's like sticking in a pot or a vase or something is that he's kind of flying off, and you will see that coming up in the reveal. So now that I got that one on there, I'm going to set him aside, and I'm going to do another kind of style. I was just showing you how he kind of looks like. You can kind of see that he's sideways. So now I'm going to take my ones that are already made, and this is the one, this one didn't have anything on the back of the page. Like I said, I should have paid more attention. I'm going to use him on another barbecue skewer. This one is how I like it. So these ones I'm actually going to like string on a string, if that makes sense. And I decided it was much easier to just put hot glue on the back of the butterfly's head and stick the antennae on than trying to put glue on the jute twine and then put it on. So once I get those on, and glue my finger to the butterfly and burn my thumb and all that good stuff, oh gosh, I'm telling you, I say it every time. I'm going to get my silicone fingers out and I totally forget. But what I'm doing, I had two of the bodies cut out. One of them I had cut accidentally a little bit bigger than the other. So I was just making sure this one matched. And I am going to put a solid line of hot glue from the tip of the head all the way down to the base. And then what I'm going to do is take my jute twine, and this is going to be the very bottom butterfly of the string. So I will just put the base of the string at the bottom of the butterfly and get it all glued up onto there. And then I'm going to generously wiggle hot glue on each side and down. And then I'm going to put the back on the body. And then I just take my fingers and press it like off to the sides of the jute twine so that it's fully adhered. And then you have a two-sided butterfly so that when this one hangs on the string, it doesn't matter if a breeze blows it, it just matches on both sides. Now, this one that has the half page, I'm going to fix that here in a little bit. I'm just going to cut out a half of another wing and glue it on, and there I did. And I'm just going to repeat this same process. I'm just going to put a little string of hot glue down the center, put the jute twine on, put more glue on in the back body, and this is what they ended up looking like. I love these so much. I can't even tell you. I'm going to make some more, and I'm going to be on the search for maybe some more interesting books with some colorful pages that maybe I could look at them and think those really look like some butterfly wings. So let me know what you think. I think the one here on the side looking like it's flying off is super cute, and I absolutely love the ones that are hanging. For the picture, for the reveal, I couldn't really hang them where you couldn't see them, and you see the flag made of ribbon roses in the back there. That was from a patriotic video that I did last week, and I'll link that down below if you're interested in that and haven't seen it yet. But let me know, do you like these butterflies? I just love them. But now we're going to move on to craft number 2, and this is for my granddaughter. She loves all things colorful, rainbowy, sparkly, you name it. And this is the one using the hanging basket. Now I already took the hanger off of it, and I got this at the Dollar Tree. I was going to use one for my stash because if you don't know, I have a small farm and I grow flowers and veg and all kinds of stuff. So I have all kinds of them, but not a white one. And I found this little skirt at the dollar store the other day when I found the basket, and I found this. It's very rainbowy too, but very pastel, and it's kind of one of those door hangings. You hang it up and you walk through all that flowy stuff. And I was standing there in the store and I thought, I know what I am going to make out of the hanging basket, because up to that point I had no idea. I thought I'm going to make my granddaughter a jellyfish that we can hang from the ceiling of her bedroom. So I'm taking this little skirt and I'm going to take the waistband of it and just kind of gather it up and tuck it around and down inside the basket. And then when I flip it over, I'm going to be able to take that elastic band and wrap it over the ring there, and I'm going to hot glue that down into place. Now, I'm telling you, this whole project was a challenge for me to record because every angle I felt like my hands were always in the way. But I just actually took the hot glue and I glued it onto the wire portion of the frame. And I had to do little sections at a time because even though my house is not really super cold, anytime I put hot glue on anything metal, it seems like it dries 2 to 3 times faster than paper or fabric or anything else. So I got that all glued around the whole sides. And what I'm going to do, you see how it kind of is still frumpy here and there? I'm just going to stick a little hot glue under there and tack all those little like ruffled edges down so they are all nice and secure. And I should have cut this off before I even put it on, but I didn't think about it until it was after the fact. And this is what the top looks like when you have it all glued and tucked down under. Already looking kind of sweet. Now I'm going to roll this back. And the next thing we're going to do is this wall or door hanging, I should say. I'm going to unravel it. And even though it went on there nice and pretty, it wasn't coming off nice and pretty. So I ended up tearing the cardboard so that I could just slip the rest of the pieces out and not try to unravel the rest of it. But this little band, the part that you secure to the top of the door frame, this is what I am going to be gluing onto the bottom trim of the basket. So I'm just going to take it, and I was going to trim it down, but I decided I would just leave it because I didn't want to fuss with it. So I glued, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch just above where the strands start. And then again, at the bottom of the basket, I just did a little section at a time because the glue dries so fast, and got it all glued on there all the way around. And when I got to the other side of the basket, I made sure that I overlapped it by about a half of an inch because I didn't want there to be any gaps in the little fringe that hung down. And sometimes if you do blunt end to blunt end, I don't know, it just kind of doesn't align right in my opinion. So I got that done. Now for the top, I'm going to put the hanger back on, and now I'm hanging this up just so you can kind of see it's not done. So don't worry. I tied it here because it's way too long. I'm going to be cutting some of that off. But for a good portion of the rest of this video, I had to work standing on a chair while this was hanging because it was so hard to do. And off camera, I put just this layer of sparkly trim that I have on it because, you know, she loves sparkles. And then I am going to also glue some of this sparkle to dangle down with the rest of the fringe. And pardon me, I'm holding the camera because at first I thought, how am I going to film myself up here at the top? But I've got my tripod and I extended it really high and worked really hard not to bump it because it's super wiggly when it gets high. But I am just gluing the trim from the very top, and I'm wrapping it down, and then I'm just putting another little dab of hot glue at the base there on the trim and securing that piece. See how stringy my hot glue is? It's ridiculous. But just hooking it onto the bottom there, and then I'm letting that piece dangle down all the way as well. And then I, again, kind of in between where I'm bringing the strands down from the top of the basket is where I'm putting the ones on the wire underneath. So you can kind of see it's like, you know, like every other. One strand is on the outside, one strand is on the inside, going all the way around. And the lighting is really bad. I apologize because it's pretty early in the morning. But I was looking at this and I thought, you know, I need something in the center just to kind of dress it up a little bit. So when she's laying, if she has it over her bed or if she's on the floor or whatever, and she's lying down looking up at it, there's actually something fun and pretty hanging from the center of the jellyfish. So I cut a whole bunch of strands of this same sparkly trim. And this was another door hanging that I used in a previous video that I found at the thrift store for a couple of bucks. And let me tell you, you can see off to the right there how much trim I have. And I'm just working my way all around and pushing it to the side so I didn't glue any of the ends. And it looks like a big hot mess right here. But let's get this hung back up and I'll show you what it looks like from the underside. On camera, it's not as effective as in person, but give you a little spinny spin so you can kind of see it just kind of looks like the little inner part of a jellyfish. Then I took it outside so you could get a better effect of the brightness of it and just how fun and whimsical it really is. And I know my granddaughter is going to love this. She saw the supplies and was so thrilled. So let me know what you think. Now, craft number 3 is also for my sweet little baby because her birthday is coming up here in a month and she needs a party hat. And yep, this is the one that I am just going to take this party hat that I got from the dollar store. I'm going to deconstruct it and I'm going to make my granddaughter a special one. Now, I wasn't jiving on this color. This trim on the bottom, I wanted to take it off because I wasn't really sure if I was going to use it again or not. It was stapled on, thankfully, not glued. So I got all the staples and everything out. And then I took it outside and I'm going to spray paint this because I don't want, again, this bright color. And my hope was for it to be solid white. But let me tell you what, this design was so stubborn. And this was 8 coats of Rust-Oleum spray paint, and you could still see the happy birthday. But I'm like, whatever, we're just going to go with it. I'm going to make little ears for the unicorn. So just eyeballing it, I'm going to start at the corner, and I'm going to kind of cut out the shape of an ear. And the ears are going to have like 3 dimensions to them. So there's going to be the back, which is black. And then in the middle of the black, I am going to do the pink. And these are actually going to get tucked into the hat, but I just wanted to make sure that they were a decent enough size for the size of the party hat. So now I'm going to just eyeball again, do the same thing, but a little bit smaller so I can get the pink inner ear. And then I'm just going to take my glue stick again, and I'm going to put a generous amount of glue on there. And I'm going to glue each one of those on there. Now this part cracked me up when I was watching this because I'm like, I got it stuck on there. And I was thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I put the wrong one on the wrong side because of each each cut that I did kind of had a gentle slope to the opposite direction. So I wanted the inner ears to match. So luckily I caught that before it got glued on there too solid. Got both of the pink on there, and then I decided I was going to take some more of this sparkly trim that I just used on the jellyfish, and I was going to use it on her party hat. And so I'm cutting out a couple of strips, and what I'm going to do, they look really straight and like they would look funky, but what I did is when I put the hot glue on there, I did it kind of in a curve to match the shape of the ear, so that when I laid the sparkles down, it also had that same curve. And I did it on both sides. Then I just put a strip of hot glue down the center and glued a little short stick in the middle there, so it looked like a solid little center gold ear. And I did that to both sides. Now I'm marking out where I need the cuts to go for the ears, and I did make sure that the little strap that goes around the chin, before I marked this and cut it, that it was exactly where it needed to be, so that when she put the party hat on, it actually, like, the whole unicorn was facing forward. So once I got my lines done, I took my little, I guess this is an X-Acto knife or something, and I cut little slits. It's getting kind of dull, so it wasn't too effective, but it did work. And I'm just gonna slip those inside, and then when I flip them over, you can see them sticking in there, and I'm gonna bend them over, stick some hot glue on there, and then glue them down. So they're secured in there and they're not going anywhere. Now, when I was at the thrift store the other day, there were these just random flowers at the bottom of this basket in the craft section, and the gal's like, oh, you can just have them for free. So I scored and I got all the little flowers for her hat for free. And I cut all the hard plastic parts off of it, so I did have to glue these back together a little bit so they stayed together. And I just kind of just started eyeballing and glued the flowers on here and there where I wanted. And I forgot I needed another purple flower, so I went downstairs in my stash, found another one, and got that glued on there. Now, this is the hard part for me because I'm not an artist, and freehanding stuff for me is so scary. So I started with a pencil, and even though this is just a couple of swooshes for the eyes, I still wanted them to kind of be even and still look good. You know, it's for my baby's birthday. So I just used my thick Sharpie and I created the eyes, and I did go back and just thicken them up a little bit, and then I put the little lashes on the ends. I think she's already looking so sweet. It's amazing how much like putting little eyes and lashes on makes. But I'm going to take some more of this gold trim. I'm going to wrap it around like this, so it kind of defines the cone at the top. And then I didn't glue a line because I knew if I tried to do a line for the whole thing, I would never get the curve that I wanted. So as I was curving it up and around the cone, I just did a little dot of glue here and there. I didn't want to tack the top piece on yet because I wanted to make sure that I could open the top of it. And I'm just going to take some pink, some purple, and some white of my curly ribbon. I'm going to measure down how long I want it to be. And I cut it a little longer than I normally would because I'm going to curl it just slightly. I'm going to get the ends all together, and then I'm going to take a piece of tape and I'm going to really tightly wrap all the ends of that together with the tape, and then I'm going to shove it down inside the top of the hat, and then try to get my hand up as far as I can inside that party hat and grab it and pull it down and then tie a knot. And as soon as I got the knot tied, I just pulled it all back up and through, and that knot kept the little streamers from coming up and back out. So it was nice and secure in there. And then at this point, I was able to finish the gold trim at the top, and I was able to hide that staple mark that they had put on there from the little poof that was on the top. And now I decided I wanted to put that little poof back on top anyway, so I glued that back on top. And I thought about putting this back on the bottom, and I thought, oh my gosh, she looks like she has a sparkly mustache. I'm like, nope, I don't think we're going to do that. We're just going to leave it off. So we just went with the little poof on the top, and then I just very gently curled these. I didn't want it to look like a heavy perm hairdo. And here's what she ended up looking like. I think she is absolutely going to love this for her birthday because it is unicorn themed and it's sparkly and it's got all the fun colors on it. So let me know what you think. Just a revamp of a birthday hat. But I think it turned out really sweet, and I can't wait to see her face. All right, so now we are going to go on to the final reveal of all the projects that we made today. And first up, we're going to review the little bear we did out of the book page. And then the sweet little butterflies that we did, both on the stick and then hanging. And then the little jellyfish that's going to go in her room. And of course, the party hat for my sweet little baby girl's birthday coming up. So let me know if you had a favorite. Don't forget to go back down in the description, click on that playlist so you can watch what all the other creators made. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time.